In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. There's a story of the fellow who met his buddy for their monthly Saturday fishing date, and they cranked up the motor and they headed down the river toward open sea. And on their way, making their journey to the ocean, they came to a bridge. And just as they came to the bridge, there was a very slow and solemn and ceremonious funeral passage occurring, crossing the bridge. And one of the guys got the engine. And he stood up and he took off his baseball cap and he bowed his head until the funeral procession passed. And then he sat down and he cranked up the engine again and they headed out to open sea for the fishing trip. And his friend said, "Well, I'm just astonished to see you do that. That is really quite moving. I didn't know you had it in you." And the guy said, "That's the least I could do. We were married for 30 years. Which is all to say that fishing is serious business. You can't let too much get between you and a fishing trip. And there are lots of fish in today's gospel, that's for sure. So anglers everywhere are happy today. We had a visiting priest last week, Father Charlie Newth, and we discovered that we both like to fish. So that meant that we pulled out our iPhones and spent about a half an hour calling up pictures of fish. And I had sailfish and I had king salmon and I had little brown trout, rainbow trout and chinook. And this went on until I found that he used a Tenkara Japanese fly fishing rod, which I'd never even heard of. At which point I decided it was just raw and put my phone back in my pocket. Of course, the nice thing about the iPhones is that they keep fishermen honest, because my fish tend to get bigger every time I tell the story. Lots of fish in today's gospel. Anglers everywhere are excited. But then there's a twist at the end of the tale that says, after they catch all those fish, from now on, I'll make you fish for people. And for an angler like myself, I make out shocks. King salmon are much more interesting than many of the people I know. What's that mean? Fish for people. What does that mean? There are a variety of interpretations. One interpretation is that we as disciples of Jesus in the contemporary world, we who are seeking to follow Jesus in our lives, need to go out on the streets and button everyone we don't know and tell them our version of the story of Jesus and drag them into church. That is one version of how this story can be interpreted, fishing for people. Now, the only trouble for me is that in order to fully indwell that particular version of Christianity, you have to have hair like a yak and a private television station, which we don't have available. So that was not going to work so much for me. But fortunately, all of my life as a priest and pre-priest has been involved in mission work in the Epistle Church one way or the other. I was actually really new my sophomore year in college that I was going to pursue priesthood when I was doing TV inoculation work with the Episcopal Church in Haiti. And thereafter, I served for 12 years as the head of the Global Partnership Group in Los Angeles. I was on the national board of the Global Episcopal Mission Group, vice president of the Foundation Christus Solison, St. Paul. St. Paul is always bragging about his credentials. I have credentials to say to you that mission in the Episcopal Church is not about buttonholing people and making them conform to my point of view. It is about accompaniment. It is about walking with them wherever they are and trying to offer witness to our Lord by compassionate presence and care, and by being useful in this world in ways that we are uniquely positioned to do. I lived for a couple of years in Turkey. And so I was very interested when the earthquake hit Mara in 1999, you may remember that, in level Bursa, in half of western Turkey. It was a pretty severe earthquake. And thereafter, a book came out called Gardens of Water by a guy named Alan Drew. Alan Drew happens to be an Episcopalian. And he had worked in some of the refugee camps in Nevada following the quake. And he based this book, Garden of Water, on his experience in the refugee camp. And in this particular refugee camp, had a fair contingent, it happened to be Southern Baptists, who were there to convert Muslims to their particular point of view. So at the end of the book, Alan Drew writes this: "Their activity struck me as such an abuse of the people that they were caring for. It also struck me as such wasted opportunity. Had these people simply cared for the Turkish Muslims who had lost everything, had they offered them food and kindness, and had they not tried to convert them, what a positive impression those Muslims would have had of Christian charity. What a positive impression the people of the camp would have had of American kindness. Instead, this group used food and shelter as power over helpless people, a sort of religious imperialism that is counterproductive to peaceful coexistence in a world that is religiously pluralistic." Strong words, but I think fair and accurate. So when we think of how we fish for people, we probably don't want to think of buttonholing folks and dragging them over to our point of view. We want to think of how we might accompany them in this world in compassion and kindness and in humility. Humility is an under-respected virtue in this world, I think. And that means that we often preclude active proselytism in the ways that we walk with others in this world, because this church has no corner on the truth. Our job in this church is to draw closer to God, and it is in God that truth resides. I think we are people who don't want to say that we are in possession of the truth, so much as we want to say that we are people who hope to be possessed increasingly by the truth. Now, some will say that that makes Episcopalians, Anglicans, our fellow travelers, relativists. But we are not relativists. We believe in virtues, and we believe in vices. We believe that there are better and worse systems of government. Look at Venezuela. There are better and worse systems of economics. There are better and worse visions of the divine. But it also means that we don't feel that we've got it all locked up. And therefore, we must walk and engage others with humility. What if this wonderful section of Luke's Gospel is not about building a megachurch and buttonholing others and dragging them over to my point of view? What if Jesus is actually suggesting a method when he talks to Peter? What if he isn't saying to Peter, Peter, you need to think things through in a different way, from a different point of view. Do not be afraid. Push out into deep water. Let down your nets. See the abundance that God has for you and for the others in the boat with whom you are traveling. What if it is a method that Jesus is suggesting here? There's a book I like by Robert Quinn called Change the World. And in that book, Robert Quinn talks about how you train an elephant. I have no experience in LA about how you do that. So I believe him. He says that to train an elephant, you tie a chain around the elephant's back left leg, and you stake it to the ground, and the elephant learns that it has a certain radius beyond which it cannot extend, and initially it will pull against that chain. And then after a while, you replace the chain with a heavy rope, and the elephant fights less against that heavy rope because it's been trained. And then finally, you replace the heavy rope with a very thin rope that the elephant could snap at will. But by then the elephant knows its radius. What if what Jesus is saying to Peter is, you need to get out of your radius. You need to break that rope and push out into deep waters and let your nets down for the abundance which God has for you and for the world which is beyond all of your asking or imagining. You need to change your radius. I think that the message of Jesus was often the power to forge alternative perspectives. Not to drag somebody over to a particular point of view, but the power to transform by expanding one's vision of the world. He certainly did that in his life. He didn't have a very tight radius. He was always pushing the boundaries and challenging others, and particularly the status quo. So maybe we net fish when we exercise compassion in the world. But fly fishing is a particular kind of art. You have to tie a fly in a certain way for a particular fish, particularly if you're using a Tenkara Japanese fishing pole. And there is a time when we are called upon to give witness to Christ and Christ's work in our lives. There is a time to speak. But when we speak, we don't want to use large nets. We want to tie a particular fly and judge the moment and speak from the heart with care to somebody who is ready. St. Francis once said, preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words. Preach the gospel at all times. If necessary, use words. But how much better if we live in such a way that we don't really find words often all that necessary. And when we do use them, we find that maybe people are willing to listen. Amen.
Amen.